Welcome to I'm an Asset podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Breanne Smith.
And I'm your other host, Zachary Wilson. Today we're going to be talking about senioritis. Now, I'm actually surprised this topic hasn't been thought of sooner by me because I've been experiencing it since day one.
Yeah.
That's the thing about senioritis is come senior year, it either happens immediately or you slowly fall into it. It's rare that some don't get it at all. But if you're unfamiliar with it, basically as the end of your high school career comes to an end, there's this realization that, you know, everything you do, not everything, but a lot of the things you're doing aren't really going to make much of an impact on your future at that school or to the future school you're going to. Because let's say you do something for a class and it's like, well, I've already been accepted to college, and as long as I keep up the GPA for whatever scholarships or whatever I need to maintain to keep that, I don't really have to go above and beyond that at all. And some people just flat out don't do anything.
And they're just not showing up. What are the symptoms of senioritis?
You'll see energy drinks.
It's because you have low energy.
I'd say it's not the only reason people have it. I want to talk about energy drinks today because I see those a lot. Senioritis is not the only reason. I say energy drinks because there just seems to be a general lack of energy there. You show up, but you don't want to show out. How do I say that?
Yeah. It seems like a lack of drive and
doing
motivation.
The bare minimum,
Yes.
And let's think of some other symptoms. What can you think of one?
I don't know that you've ever been like truly ecstatic to go to school, but would you say that there is you just really feel like you don't want to go? Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I'd say because it feels like some days, just because of the block schedule, there are days when I get to school and, if I had just taken out the lunchtime and all the time moving between my classes and, that weird kind of time at the beginning of class where everyone's kind of getting settled in and we're not really doing anything, or like the end of class when there's a little bit of time left in class, but not enough to start something new because the next class is about to start. If you were like to take away all that little time and then just spend the time working, it would only be like, it wouldn't be at that much time. And you're just like, I wish I could have just, stayed in bed today and just knocked all that out and done whatever I wanted. But, that's just the way the school structure is. And that's the way it has to be. It's systematic like that.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me that you're kind of growing out of that long school day, jammed all together back to back kind of class structure, because in college it's very different. You have a little bit of control over your schedule in college, depending on if you can pick when the classes are that you want to go to, but then you can also arrange to have space for lunch, plenty of time in the morning to sleep in or go to breakfast, or not have classes in the evening so you can study, or study during the day. You can really break it up or jam it all together a little bit how you want to. But I think it's interesting that you brought this up, because I was thinking about that the other day, that you seem to be very forward focused on a lot of extracurricular things right now. And I'm wondering if that is because of this just blah of the school schedule, and then you're just now really turning your attention towards other things that do motivate you, that do make you happy.
Yeah, with that being said, I think along with senioritis is the realization that not everything you do now will go into college or your career. Because I'm taking a class right now that I don't think I'll be doing more of in college, and I'm definitely not going to be using in my career. And I'm just like, I need to keep a good grade in this class, but like, I don't really have to know any of this stuff. And so like the extracurriculars tend to become more of a priority, and that sucks up all your energy, doing stuff for your future. And so then when you go to school, and then there's a lot of classes that are important for your future, but when it comes to the ones that you're like, I'm not doing this next year, it's hard to want to
It's
do
just
it.
checking a box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that's really a struggle. So I wonder, like, how we can combat senioritis, because it's inevitable. I mean, in anything where you are closing a chapter of your life and you're looking ahead to a new season, there's this transition period of time you still have to work out the old season. And so I think one thing that you can do to really sludge through the school part of it that seems pointless is to do exactly what you're doing, which is to just make sure you have other things in your life that are enjoyable, motivating, that you do feel like are important for your future. And you're doing a lot of those things. Like, talk about some of the things you are doing outside of schoolwork that are keeping you motivated and keeping you like happy and in a good mindset.
Just like my extracurriculars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I already talk about them a lot on this channel, but I'll or this podcast, but I'll update. Let's see. I play soccer. And that practice, we always have practice every day. So, knowing that that's at the end of every day I like to go to soccer. It gives me energy. So, having that at the end of the day keeps me going.
Yeah, good.
Because I'm like, whatever happens here, I'll get to go to soccer after.
Yes.
And then I'm doing a Bible study. That's kind of a lot of work because it's in the morning, and I have to get up and I have to plan sometime prior in that week about what we're gonna do. And it's a lot of communication, trying to get people there and making sure everyone's okay in there and stuff. So that takes up time, but that's worth it for what it yields as far as, character and my and other people's spiritual journey.
You also joined a small group recently.
I'm actually in 2 small groups that I joined recently. One is also in the morning, so that's at least 2 of my mornings I'm getting up really early. Although I get up, that I have to get up early, but I get up early like probably every day, it feels like. Just because, I actually wanted to talk about this with the sleep schedule, and it's kind of part of senioritis is when you're doing all this other stuff for your future, it's exhausting. And so getting up every day and finding the time. We're going to talk about that later though. So more extracurriculars. I have the 2 Bible studies, and with, church being on Sunday, kind of my whole Sunday is normally taken up. I work. That's kind of, I don't know if you call that an extracurricular, but that's something outside of school I do.
That is also very important for your future, I think. And then what about this really cool thing you get to do later on this week?
Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about this after it happened.
Okay. Can you give us a teaser?
I'll give you a teaser. So I'm paging for the Alabama State House of Representatives. There's a representative I know, and that offered me to page for him, and I would gladly want to do it because I think I'm going to learn a lot from it. And he's a really good role model, hard worker. I like everything he stands for, so getting to help him in his endeavors is going to be probably I don't know if I'm ever going to get to do anything like this ever again, or even what I mean by that is be in this environment, because this is like a political environment and legislative, and like, when will I ever be a part of that in my life? Because I don't want to go into politics, I don't think. And it's like, I don't know, when will you ever work for the state? I might never work for the state again. This is technically volunteer work, but
well, that's really cool. I'm looking forward to hearing about how that goes. We'll perhaps have our next episode will be that, because
talk about that.
You're going to do that later in the week. Awesome. Well, So you do have a lot going on that's outside of school. And I think one thing that's helpful when you have to do things that you don't want to do, but you know you need to do, like you are going to have to graduate and finish all the courses that you're into in order to get that certificate. So you do actually have to keep going to school, even though it feels pointless. So sometimes it's helpful to pair doing something you don't want to do but have to do with other enjoyable things at the same time. So maybe when you're
Hmm.
doing your homework, listen to enjoyable music or get in a comfy spot or, uh, you know, sandwich the things that you don't like to do with two things that you do like to do, like go for a run, do some schoolwork, and then play some video games. I don't know, just try to add in as much of the enjoyable things around
Hmm.
this last semester. And honestly, there's so much going on with, things to be at. Last day to do this, last, soccer game will be coming up, the last, day of class, and
Hmm.
these last dances or prom, all these things are going to be the last. So I think just really focusing on enjoying it
Hmm.
because you can't get this back.
That's true. That is true. We did an episode on that first and last. If y'all want to hear us talk more about that, and we dedicated a whole episode to it because this is kind of like one of the defining eras of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, we just started playing our first soccer games. I can't remember if I've talked about that yet, but it's like the beginning of the end, and
Mm-hmm.
realizing that it's daunting, but it's also exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a bit of like
Excitement.
anticipation that
Yeah.
comes along with that.
Very good.
So we're doing okay so far. We have won every game so far, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll
Yeah.
see how long we can keep that up.
It's going to be
Hopefully,
some cold games this
yeah.
weekend. I've looked ahead
It
at the
was cold today and yesterday.
temperature.
Alabama weather is something else.
It is so crazy. Well, I want to talk about your sleep schedule. So, what did you have in mind about what's going on with that in this last semester?
So I put sleep schedule up here. I wanted to talk about this because I think this is different for everybody, but I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about because for me, I try to get at least 8 hours, but I have some stuff in the morning, so I have to go to bed probably around 10,
Mm-hmm.
just so I can, if I got to wake up before 6, I might not get a full 8, but
Mm-hmm.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, even when they go to bed at the time to have enough, they can't sleep.
That is literally me.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
that is just so me. I just am such a light sleeper that I really feel like I never do actually ever go to sleep. Like I feel like I'm awake all the time.
I kind of feel like that too. I think just because I'm always stressed out. Um, I'm not really much of a dreamer. Are you?
Yeah, occasionally I will have a dream and I really do pay attention to those.
I feel like I don't
Hmm.
dream that often, and I don't know what that's
Hmm.
about because there's like science behind it, but I don't want to go into that.
Yeah. Well, I think your sister and I just had a recent conversation about this because uh, she's having trouble also sleeping. And I gave her some chamomile tea and some variations of that. And I've actually been doing that. I'm not 100% consistent on it, but I'll drink a cup of chamomile tea close to bedtime and
Mhm.
also take some magnesium close to bedtime. And that is helpful. But
Magnesium, yeah.
but honestly, like I have uh I'm not never been a napper, so I
Neither
can't
have
take a
I.
nap in the middle of the
It will
day.
mess up my whole day if I take a nap.
But also I'm just like always doing something. So when to get really good about getting those 8 hours of sleep, which is something I'm not super great at. This you really got to prepare yourself at least an hour in advance of going to bed early to be sleepy.
Hmm. I think there are a lot of things you can do that I don't practice myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like they say, get off of screens.
Mm-hmm.
It's something to do with the blue light.
Mm-hmm.
The way I see it is I'm probably going to be on my phone until I decide to go to bed. But
Mm-hmm.
what I do to, I don't think it affects me that much. It might just be the person I am, but this might help. Is I have the the nighttime mode,
Mm-hmm.
takes away the light that keeps you up, and or you can do like blue light glasses or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I would stray away from things that keep make you anxious, or because like if you're reading the Bible app on your phone, or you're watching a show that you like the Great British Baking Show, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're watching like some drama,
Mm-hmm.
or you're
Something
going
really
through
stressful.
Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and that might keep you up.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, I think if you're just watching something, or I don't know, or like playing video games. If you're playing video games and you're like,
In it.
especially those like shoot 'em up video games, you might be tense before you go to sleep, and that's probably
Mm-hmm.
gonna keep you up for at least another hour, even if you turn it off and go to bed.
Yeah.
Some people read before they go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great, but if you're reading something like, I remember there's these books I liked as a kid. Uh, they were really good, and so like I was trying to like improve my sleep schedule, and so I would read before I went to bed. But the books were so good, I didn't want to go to bed,
Yeah.
and they would keep me up. I think it's more about like that, like what you're actually thinking about, like the kind of state of mind, not necessarily are you reading before you go to bed, or are you on a device before. I think it's more like, are you stressed before you go to bed, or are you calm and happy?
Yeah. No, I think that's good advice. And I think one thing that probably contributes to my inability to go to sleep is I have like a checklist of getting ready for bed and things that I do before I go to bed. And I'm just like in checklist mode after all of that. But, it makes my morning really great when I've done all the things the night before to prepare for it. So I don't know. Probably would be better if I did the checklist maybe a little earlier, not right before I went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What stresses me out is if I make a checklist for the morning, because when I wake up, I'm like, where am I?
Yeah.
So I'll make a checklist and put it beside my alarm clock, and I'll like, when I wake up and I turn off my alarm clock, there's the checklist. That's what I've got to do, because I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if I try, I put it on the checklist so I don't stress out about it, because I'll
Mm-hmm.
remember if I really need to
Mm-hmm.
through stress. But if I can put it on the checklist, I'm like, okay, I'll worry about it in the
Data
morning.
dump it.
I don't have
Yeah.
to think about
That's
it.
tomorrow's
Yeah.
Zachary's problem. Yeah, I think that I do that too. And if I'm got a lot of things going on, if I can make sure that they're on a list somewhere on my calendar that I will, the day even that I'm going to do it, it does take that feeling of anxiousness about having to get it done off my mind. So that's helpful too. I think some consistency in your sleep schedule also helps. If you have a certain time you go to bed every day and a certain time you get up in the morning and you're consistent with that, it helps. I don't know. This is not really my expertise.
Forte, yeah. I think we could dedicate a whole episode to that, or maybe not a whole episode, but more time to that, and actually do some research. I've already done some research, so I already know a little bit, but we'll maybe come back to that another
Yeah,
time.
something really interesting that when we come back to that a friend of mine who does some research in the area of like productivity and focus, she sent me the information and research about if you're an early bird, a midday, they call it the third bird, or a night owl, and which bird you are, and depending on which bird you are is the day, certain tasks you should do certain times of the day versus the, leaving the easy, mindless kind of tasks for other times of the day,
Mhm.
which I thought was very interesting and does relate to your sleep schedule and when you go to bed and when you get up and when you're most productive. So, yeah, that'd be fun to talk about that.
Um, so this next one is energy drinks. I said we'd come back to this. You're actually drinking an energy drink right now.
Cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee. I think it's either the caffeine or the sugar. I want to talk about this because I see these more and more. With the Celsius is a popular one. I've seen Monster energy drinks, the classics. I haven't seen people shooting 5-hour energy drinks, those little bottles. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that, but I've heard, you see them at the register or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Um, and there's some people have a ritual where they'll go to Starbucks before school, and so yeah, since I don't drink them at all, and you drink them all the time, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, where sleep schedule is not my area of expertise, definitely beverages is. And I always say I'm a beverage girl just because I always have one. And not necessarily coffee, but something to drink just because I like to have something in my hand at my desk. And there are sometimes I have 3 beverages at my desk at one time. And, one for hydration, one for fun, one for energy. So I do drink coffee. I have a whole beverage schedule that I go through every day. We could do a whole thing about this too, although this podcast is about you, not me. But I have.
No, well, we're open to discussion, so I want to hear what you got.
But I have certain things I drink in the morning, certain things I put in my coffee in the morning, like I put bone broth, flavorless bone broth in my coffee in the morning, which is good for protein, good for digestion, great for your skin. Also, I put collagen protein powder in my coffee. So I have 2 powdered, coffees in the morning. I also drink like a fiber colostrum, like mineral salt, little shot of water in the morning. I've got this really cool.
Is that why there's that shot?
Yeah, I like rabbit.
I was like, what is that?
And I also drink green tea. I drink peppermint tea. I put certain things in my tea like cinnamon and turmeric. I like to add natural. I'm such a natural remedy person too, so I like to add good things for me in the beverages that I drink. But I also love sparkling water, so I drink a lot of sparkling water.
I used to drink a lot of sparkling water too, but I've strayed away from sparkling water. I'm now I drink water most of the time. When I wake up, occasionally I'll have a protein shake, especially if I'm gonna work out or something. And besides water, I'll have the occasional diet beverage. I like Diet Coke, Pepsi Zero,
Dr. Pepper,
Coke Zero, all that mess. If it's diet, I like pretty much every drink. And what's important to know is some people aren't aware of this, but most of those sodas or Cokes, pops, wherever you're from, they typically have caffeine in them. Now some zero variations will have 0 caffeine, but some, like there's a Coke Zero has 0 sugar, 0 carbs, but it has caffeine in it.
Yeah.
So caffeine will keep you up. So it's not as much as a cup of coffee. I don't know how much is in that, but it's like 40 milligrams or something, 25, I don't know, in like a little can. It doesn't affect me because many times I have consumed one of these before I go to bed, and it doesn't affect how I sleep at all. It might just be because it's a reduced amount. It might be because it just doesn't affect me as much. I would say I'm not an energy drinks person, but I mean, those drinks do have caffeine, so just be aware of them. I'm not like popping Diet Cokes for energy.
Yeah, no, I
Just for enjoyment.
definitely don't drink. Well, sometimes I'll drink coffee late in the day, like if we're out to dinner and we have a dessert, I'll drink a cup of coffee. Sometimes I'll drink decaf if it's late at night. But yeah, like if I drink some caffeine at night, I'll be up. So try not to do that.
Yeah, that could be a contributing factor to the sleep schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I keep moving my hands and hitting the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
well, I think that's going to wrap up everything I have on the schedule for today. We will possibly return to some of these topics. Maybe I'll have some senioritis stories to tell
Yeah.
later in the year. It tends to hit more and more as the year
Yeah.
gets later.
We're closing in on
Mhm.
graduation, like rapidly closing in.
So far, it hasn't hit me too bad because I'm trying to keep
You're
finish
busy.
strong.
Mhm.
I don't want to like bottom out and then go to college and have to
Pick it all back
fire
up.
on all cylinders again. I could not do that.
Yes.
So
Very good.
yeah,
That was a good
we'll
topic today,
update
Zachary.
y'all. We'll return.
Okay. Well, y'all have a fabulous day. See you next time.
See you next time.